lot of people have been worrying about inflation incessantly. It's America's biggest problem right now. Inflation's at about 7%, highest it's been in many, many years, and people are feeling the pinch. This is a real thing. If you've been to the gas pump, you've been to the grocery store, you've been to Chipotle, you're like, why is my chicken bowl now $10? I didn't even get the guac, John. I didn't get the guac.
I would have been another $11.
This is insane. And so I've been digging into just kind of helpful ways. I like to call them hacks. You hate the word hacks because they're not hacks. It takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of research, know-how, time, effort, energy. So hacks just make me feel like it's easy, even though it's not.
That's a very millennial approach. I accept.
That is where we stand.
I accept.
So I wanted to give the people out there some tips, especially around grocery shopping, because the stats are showing us people are spending, it used to be $292 a month, now it's $350 a month.
Yeah.
On groceries. And so there's some ways that I've been living this way before it was cool. I was the original hipster when it came to frugality. And so there's a lot of ways people are overspending when it comes to groceries. Eating out is a whole other thing, right, when it comes to that. Meat, really expensive right now. I'm not going to tell people to go eat tofu because we live in a society, John.
Because we don't hate children.
This used to be a real country. I'm not eating that stuff. But here's the thing. One of the biggest ways people overspend is, like we talk about college choice as one of the biggest ways to make college affordable. Grocery store choice. Man, that's a game changer. Some of y'all shopping at Whole Foods or Whole Paycheck, whatever you want to call it, that's a budget buster right now. Maybe we try out Aldi. No, it's not the fanciest store. You got to put the quarter in the cart. It's very old-timey and fun.
You have to put a quarter in the cart?
You have to put a quarter to get the cart, and then you get the quarter back when you put the cart back.
Oh, just in case you're going
to
rip them
off. It's an efficiency thing.
Off.
No, it's an efficiency thing. They don't have to have a cart person.
Okay.
You are the cart person.
You are the cart person.
They charge you, 10 cents for a bag. They save some money that way.
Yep.
Anyways, you can get some great prices there to get all your necessities. I'm a big fan of Trader Joe's. If you have one in your area, I can fill up a whole little buggy at Trader Joe's and spend less than $100. You can have a shopping spree, and it's a great deal. But another thing people need to do is buy generic. And this is offensive to some people. So they go, don't take away my Oreos.
Absolutely offended right now.
You're like,
you want me to get sugar rounds?
You want me to get the far-out Fruities instead of Fruity Pebbles?
That's exactly right.
But here's the truth, John. Most of those products are made in the same factories and the same lines with the same ingredients.
You can buy look next to the Cheerios, and you buy just the cellophane bag of Oat-O's, right?
It comes in the bag, you get worried. It has to be in a box.
That's right. It feels a little less secure and stable.
I will say milk in a bag is disconcerting.
Not going to have it.
I just want it in a carton. But that's a big way people can save is going generic. I know there's some deal breakers there. Like toilet paper, I'm going name brand. I'm sorry, I have trust issues.
Deodorant? I'm not hedging on that one.
You're not going with the Dollar General branded?
I am a snob when it comes to deodorant.
You smell great.
I appreciate that.
It's working.
Thank you.
Another thing to do is buy things in bulk that you naturally would eat a lot of, right? So buying a huge bag of rice from Costco, that could be a great deal. That's going to feed your family for a long time. But people assume that buying in bulk means a better deal. And the truth is it doesn't. Here's what I want you to do. It's a quick, fun little math experiment. You take your phone out when you're at the grocery store, divide the price by the ounces. And
now you're asking people to do work, George, and I just want to go to the grocery store.
They're not really hacks, are they, John?
Sounds like you're making me do math.
Yes, but that math is going to make your life better because you're not going to feel inflation as much.
I have a sixth grade son, and he's working through math, and he asked the other day, when am I ever going to use this? And now you're telling him in the grocery store?
Yep, I'm telling Hank, buddy, there's hope for you.
There is
you will use this.
I think that's disconcerting.
Not the Pythagorean theorem, but just basic math. So do the math on those ounces. Don't assume it's a good deal because it's at the wholesale club and you're buying it in bulk. That's a big one. And there's this new thing called shrinkflation that is driving me crazy personally. So if your breakfast bars used to be 1.5 ounces.
Oh, yes. Is that what it's called?
Yes. Now they're charging the same price, but they shrunk it down to 1 ounce instead of 1.5 ounces.
I opened a bag of something recently, and I thought it was all air. I had to look in and say, what happened to it?
You thought you grew.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm the big friendly giant, like the BFG. What has happened? So it's called shrinkflation?
Shrinkflation. It's a real thing. Yeah, and companies are doing this to save money without changing their price. Because if you go, my breakfast bars were, I like Lara bars. We like those. We eat those. And you go, it used to be $5. Well, now Lara bars shrunk the ounces and charge the same $5 so that you never notice. You're none the wiser, John.
You're just a little more hungry.
This is how they get you.
They got me.
So there's a lot of ways. Obviously, meal planning, but let me tell you, meal planning is a lot for a lot of people. It just feels too aggressive. So I like to say start with foods that you enjoy, that you're willing to eat, because if you're not willing to eat it, you know what happens? It goes in the trash. And that's how inflation really gets you. You don't even eat the stuff you bought because you thought you were going to be in the mood for kale salad. Classic scenario.
Nobody's in the mood for kale
salad. And then you
salad.
go, we're getting pizza tonight.
That's right. Well, I think it's important to also say, and I know this, people are going to roll their eyes and say, oh my gosh, you're giving leftovers are a thing, and don't be above leftovers.
I'm a big fan of leftovers.
I am too. They're huge in our house, but I know that can be offensive to say that.
And if you hate leftovers, become a better cook, and then you'll like leftovers. It's amazing how that works.
Shots fired.
Yep. Coming at you, America.
And there's a whole bunch of folks out here from Chick-fil-A. You guys have done a great job keeping the prices down, so way to go, guys.
Big fan of Chick-fil-A. I've got my own Chick-fil-A hacks that I'll share at another time, but I like to go budget-friendly. My wife does not. Her meal somehow is like $48 at Chick-fil-A. Mine's like $4. I'm getting the kids' meal.
Oh, I did go with you one time.
I'm swapping the toy for the ice cream, right? They understand.
Yeah. No, I was with you that one time.
Yeah. John saw me order a kid's meal, and I was in the car with him, and they thought I was his child.
Yeah, exactly. They thought, man, don't see a lot of middle schoolers with a full beard, but we'll go with it.
Here's what it comes down to. Do a little bit of math to figure out what is this meal actually costing me. Is it costing me $20 per person? Because that's not a good way to fight inflation. Right. But if I can get it down to, $3, $4, $5, that's a great deal.
And let's just call it out. Like we laugh, joke, we joke, and we have a good time. I know that there are people who are really hurting with the food prices.
Oh, absolutely.
They're hard, man.
Yeah.
And things were already compressed and tough and tight, and millions of people looking for jobs, trying to move jobs. This is a messy time, man. And so I just want to acknowledge it. Sometimes there's moments, when you work in people's mental health and you work people's money, like I don't have an instant solution for you other than to say, I'm sitting here with you and I'm sorry.
And that's
what I mean?
My solution is let's get creative and let's make it kind of fun.
Yeah,
and at least then it takes a little bit of that sting away, and you feel like, man, this is kind of what other areas can we do this in? Another one is gas. That's another thing people are worried about. And I use an app called Gas Buddy. They're not a sponsor, but if you're listening, awesome app that shows me the cheapest gas in my area, and usually it's the wholesale clubs.
I didn't know that.
Sam's or Costco.
Yeah.
And so those are great ways to just do a little bit of math. But don't go to the gas station 48 miles away to save 2 cents a gallon.
That's right.
Also do the math on that and go, that's not worth it. I'm saving 20 cents to go an extra 20 miles.
Yeah.
Don't do that either.
Very cool.
Or stop driving. That's a good way to do it too. Carpool.
Or carpool.
I'm a big fan of that. A lot of people that work here at Ramsey in my neighborhood, and sometimes I'll just hitch a ride.
That to me is where I like that. I like to see communities come together and say, we got some local challenges. What are some local solutions to some of these challenges? We're going to have people over once a month. Back in when I had a group of friends, we had an event called Rotisserie where we just rotated. That's the cheesiest name ever, I know. But we would just have once a week, everybody would take their leftovers out and bring them over. And there'd be half a bottle of wine and
potluck.
it was an old school potluck. And we just rotated houses. The rules were no one cleans up. We're not. Like if there's laundry on the floor, there's laundry on the floor. We want to hang out, and we're going to clean our fridges out. And these are folks that were way better off financially than me. It wasn't about necessity at that point. It was just about community.
Yeah.
And it turned into something that was great financially for us all too, right?
Yeah. And this will all blow over. So we're not saying this is your new life and that you have to shop at this new store and you have to get gas over. This is just to help you guys out during this time so that you have a little bit more margin in your budget. And that's why we teach the baby steps, by the way. Because if you're in debt, inflation is hitting you a lot harder than when you've got 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a savings account. Yeah. You've got no one. You don't owe anyone anything. Whew, you can sleep at night not worrying about the extra 20 cents at the pump.
And this is going to blow over. Inflation will regulate back down. They'll do something else. But don't let intentionality go by the wayside.
Yeah.
I love the idea, even if it's for a few cents here, a quarter here, a couple dollars here.
It adds up.
Be intentional. Let this be the moment you say, I'm going to start being intentional with how I spend my money, whether it's on a bag of rice or for a car or for a home or anything in between.